Look at that beautiful sunset.
Well, we're here in the evening for Fright Nights at Thorpe Park. We've opted out of going for a full day, we've just gone for an evening. We're mostly here just for the mazes and scares and the Halloween stuff, so if we get any rides in, cool. If not, doesn't matter at all. Not here for that. So we're going to head through and see what we can see.
Very busy evening tonight. Sign at the car park said it was full. So we're heading to our first attraction, Trailers. See if it's as good as I remembered it being last year. But hopefully a lot better than Breakout at Bozo's in the summer. Okay, so we just came out of Trailers, very busy, took a little over an hour to get in. They were putting people through in huge groups. A couple of the rooms were a little light on actors, so not great. But we're making a mad dash now to get everything in. We're dashing towards survival games. See if that's any better than last year. I wasn't a huge fan last year. I just thought it was okay. So let's see if it's better than okay, because that will be an improvement. Waited 50 minutes and losing my mind a bit. We've still got a chunk of queue to go. Just better not miss Stitches because this is so long to get in. Okay, so waited a little over an hour for survival games. Better than last year? Yes. That much better? No. Is it as intense as everybody seems to have made it out to be this year? Also no. Only got grabbed once and it was very gentle. Nothing forceful. Time for Stitches. Not much time left in our long time slot, but we need to get in and get it done. Okay, so we waited about 40-ish minutes there for Stitches, and that was amazing. That was the best themed and executed maze I think that Thorpe Park have ever done that I've seen, in all honesty. It's kind of up there in my favourites for Thorpe Park alongside the Asylum and Experiment 10. There were a couple of moments without actors, but what I really liked about that maze actually is that they had other things in there that would scare you anyway. Without going into spoilers, just the lighting, the decoration, it was Alton Towers, Tully's Farm level of decoration and theming, just minus a few actors. But that's been, I'd say that was the exact same in Trailers. That was very low on actors, but that's looking tired. Trailers is ready for a change. Survival Games is better than it was last year. Just improved that one further and improved the capacity. That was a very slow moving queue, especially with how much of the accessibility and fast track they were letting in per group. Whereas Stitches, even though they put us in a humongous group, there was a huge queue, but that queue moved quickly because they put through huge groups, and normally that's the worst thing that could happen. But with being directed through alternate paths, it was great. It was so good. Over the moon. No, I just had dinner because I haven't eaten anything proper since breakfast.
It's been a very long day, and a hot chocolate. We're going to go see if it's not too late to go through the Crows of Mawkin Meadow. So you have about 28 minutes till park close. Stitches is giving off a crazy amount of artificial fog. This place is an absolute swamp. Stitches and the Crows is so hard to see around here, but great vibes, great atmosphere. Always love the atmosphere at Thorpe Park Fright Nights. Big improvement over last year, loads of fun, simple, free, spooky scares. Now, we weren't huge fans of Death Stores last year, and that looks like it hasn't changed much at all. If not, it sounds like it's not even as good as it was last year, so we're going to give that a miss. We're going to do one of my favourite things now, visit the shop, and then we're going to head out.
Forgot to film an outro again, so here I am editing a second video in a row. Fright Nights, still the home of fear? No. Are they making good progress? Yes. A few years back, I remember going to Fright Nights, and it was absolutely atrocious. It was a terrible event a few years ago, but last year and this year are major steps and improvement for Fright Nights for the park, and it is becoming a much more exciting event to go to again. So Home of Fear, not sure, still had much better scares at Scarefest, but I did still really like the mazes, and Stitches is probably the best maze that you can get in the country at the moment. That was absolutely incredible, better than anything at Scarefest, or especially Genital, and even Tully's. I was expecting it to be Tully's level from what I'd heard, but it would probably surpass that for me. It was so multi-sensory, and they found so many ways to make it work. Even in rooms where there were no actors, they had ways to make it work, and they managed to put through huge groups but reroute people, and you still had an incredible experience. They kept the queue moving quickly while still having a fantastic scare experience. Now, what I'd like to see Thorpe do in the future is possibly look at trailers and reevaluate whether that's still working. Possibly bring in a new maze, that'd be awesome. Something related to Hyperia, definitely. And I'd like them to have another think about how they are operating their queue lines. Alton Towers was a busier day overall, but I managed to pretty much walk into those attractions. I know I did them at 1 o'clock, but it was still walking in. These bundles that they have for Fright Nights and the 1 hour slots are clearly not working. As all the bundles had sold out, I had to go for the 1 hour slot bundles, and it ended up making me incredibly stressed and incredibly anxious when the queue for trailers and the queue for survival games were both over an hour each. Had me incredibly nervous by the time I got to Stitches, whether or not I was actually going to be able to get in. So definitely really think about that, and think about, especially I noticed with survival games, how many people were being let through the fast track and accessibility up until there was a change in operator or batching person. Up until then, the first person who was there was just letting all the fast track through, and just a few people from the main queue at a time. Noticed that just for that period while they were there, the queue almost ground to a staggering halt, and then when they switched over and had a different operator, she managed to pump groups through really quickly, and took a reasonable chunk out of the main queue each time. So I think, the whole 1 hour slot thing is absolutely shocking, when you don't know how long the queue is going to be, and you don't know how busy the park is going to be, especially when you look at the queue times. I mean, if you got to the park and were banking on looking at the queue times, you were in tough luck, because by the time we got to the park, all of the mazes had sold out, as well as the park being sold out. But if you're waiting for them, the queue times were not true at all. Stitches said 20 minutes, we waited 40. Trailer said 50 minutes, we waited an hour and 5. Survival Games said 0 minutes, we waited about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes for that. So yeah, Survival Games is making an improvement this year. Stitches is absolutely incredible. Trailers needs a reevaluation. The Crows of Mawkin Meadow was really good, although there were a lot of security guards. I understand why they're there. But it was very intrusive to the whole experience. It almost felt like watching a video of one of the attractions at Halloween Horror Nights or something, where you just see the cast members and security members just standing there. It takes you out of it just a little bit, especially their beautiful high-vis jackets. But definitely an improvement there. Didn't bother going to Death Stores because went last year. We weren't very fussed last year. It looks like it was about the same attraction this year from what I've seen. So we weren't too fussed about going there. And then they also need to I hope it comes as part of this whole huge refresh Thorpe seem to be advertising that they're doing for the whole entry experience, but I hope it includes looking at the parking and getting out of the park, because that was an absolute nightmare. It took 30 to 40 minutes to get out of the car park. They really need to work on their car park if they're going for this whole rebranding, reimagining, refreshing of Thorpe Park as a whole. I hope they look at the car park, and even if it's not something they fix over this close season, hopefully something that they look into in the future, because supposedly they're looking at Port and Base Camp and the dome and the entrance, as well as looking at the sign. But overall, I really did enjoy Fright Nights, and I think it's gotten better over the years, and I think this is the best year it's been for a long time, since I can remember Experiment 10 back in those days. That's when I remembered it being amazing, and this is the best it's been since then, I would say. And I am looking forward to returning to it next year, hopefully with more improvements, more changes. We look like we're in a lot of money spending mode from Merlin at the moment, and I really appreciate that, because it feels like there's been a bit of a dry spell, especially with Thorpe Park. But it feels like, you know, something big is coming, some good changes, and very excited for that. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. It would really help out. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.